In today's feature interview, we're chatting with Lynn Girardi about how she used a book club on Facebook to create and nurture friendships with like minded people who are looking to make friendships as well. If you're looking for a way to meet others who understand you and share your interest in the law of attraction, you might find this interview very helpful. This is the law of attraction like you've never heard it before. Awesome. All right, cool. So
Okay,
you ready to dive on in?
ready. Let's dive.
Beautiful. Well, in that case, hey everyone, Andrew here, otherwise known as the guy who wrote the last Law of Attraction book you'll ever need to read. And I'm joined with a really special guest here. And, Lynn Girardi is the founder of Whole Life Boogie, and she helps conscious entrepreneurs who may feel stressed or uncertain to find relief and a renewed positive mindset and a clear business direction forward to manifest the successful career that they desire through joy and through ease. And that intro really only scratches the surface, based on what I know about Lynn. She's a really awesome person. And we've got a lot of fun things to talk about. One thing that you might not even be expecting, unless I kind of throw it in the thumbnail or the subject heading. But with that said, Lynn Girardi, thank you so much for being here and welcome to my YouTube channel.
Thanks so much, Andrew. Great to see you and great to be here with your audience as well.
Yeah. And, it's like, you say my audience, I mean, they're fellow readers. You are a reader just
Right.
like them. You're on
Yes.
this journey just like them.
Yes,
And
exactly.
really
Thank you.
kind of
Yeah.
like what inspired I guess the beginning of this conversation, and we were talking before we hit the record button,
Right.
is last year. You did something really interesting that I think a lot of people can learn from or be inspired by,
Thank you.
especially, I know we're kind of getting out of the isolation now,
Right.
but even before 2020, it's very easy for people, especially when they're on a journey of self-discovery, it's very easy for them to feel isolated or feel alone or
Def-
feel like they're just not understood. And what
Definitely.
you did in the thick of everything, not saying that you were misunderstood, but what you just took in terms of initiative is you reached out to me letting me know that you started a book club
Yeah, I
where,
needed permission just in case I wanted to check.
yeah, I was like, hey, have a book, if
Thank
people are
you.
buying the book, I'm not going to complain.
Thank you
If
so
you got a
much.
book club where people, and that's what you did, you started a book club, and at least in
Yeah.
the beginning, I'm not sure if it's gone to any other books, but you
Yeah.
used my book as kind of like a rallying point, so to speak, and you invited other people, and through Facebook you basically just connected to these other people and had an exchange of ideas and really kind of like went through it together. And
Yes.
again, I really just wanted to kind of give you credit and
Thank you.
thank
I
you for that,
appreciate it.
because I think a lot of people really can learn from that. And I think, for people that might be shy or a little uncomfortable, it really is an easy process, because the people
Yes.
that they will meet on that journey, if they choose to go in that direction, are people just like them that are also looking to connect, but also might be a little apprehensive. With that
Yes.
in mind, I guess to start things off, what inspired you to say, all right, I'm doing a book club? Was it about the book? Was it about kind of like being cooped up? Like, what got you in that direction first?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and it reminds me of how this all started. Was back in I guess the pandemic, or in the United States here in New York or whatever. We were conscious of it. It was actually, I remember, it was like right after St. Patrick's Day, March of 2020, and the week before they made the announcement of things starting to close down, I had a little self-care retreat for myself. I like to do that every now and then. I mean, it's not a real retreat, but it's in nature, upstate New York. Um, and actually at Mohonk, upstate New York. So it was like kind of a back to getting some self-care time and clarity. So I knew I needed that. I do that every maybe once a year at least. And on my way up there, and I still don't know if this was a channel you had or something. I took a bus up there from Manhattan. I was listening to an Abraham Hicks audio on YouTube, and somewhere when you click the little arrow and you see whatever they wrote, and of in the details, it listed your book, and
Hmm.
I was like, wow, that title. It's the secret. I mean, that's like the best title I've ever heard, right? The last law. I have my book here. It's all dog-eared, and I got tons of notes in here. The last law of attraction book you'll ever need to read. And when I saw that, I was like, that's what I need. Where is that book? I've been looking for like 50 years. So it really just started there, and I'll kind of wrap it up from there. But so the fast part of it then is, so I downloaded it as a Kindle because I was on my way to this holistic resort kind of thing, lodge. I couldn't really go buy a book out there. It's in the kind of in the boondocks. I downloaded the Kindle. I started reading it, as I was lounging around, relaxing, and even at dinner. And I was like, this is fantastic. And then when I got home, eventually, I said, I need a paperback version of this book too, because I went on the line and everything. And the last part about that is really that one day I was just kind of looking at the book on by my coffee table, and I was like, I should do I should, like, an excited idea, right? Inspiration and inspired, acting on inspired ideas, like you were talking about in one of your videos. The idea, just seeing the book, I was like, oh, I should do a book club on this, you know, and it kind of started from there.
Nice, nice. And it's really cool. And I remember you reaching out, and thank you for that, and saying, hey, is it
Thank
cool? I'm like,
you.
yeah, again,
Yeah, right.
like, more people are buying the book. I'm not going to complain one bit.
I
And but
appreciate
also
it.
I remember I was very intentional about not saying too much, because I did not want to interfere with your experience or whatever train of thought you were going on.
I
And
appreciate
I
it.
didn't express it to you, but I was curious. I was wondering, I wonder how this is going to shape out for Lynn and whoever joins the club. And I
Yeah,
always, I was always looking forward to having a conversation about it down the line.
yeah,
And I
great.
get, with that in mind, like, when you started, was it easy to find people, or was it a struggle to connect with the right people? Like, what was your experience just getting it together and finding other like-minded people that would want to read this book, or any book for that matter,
Yeah,
and really engage in exchanging in these ideas?
yeah, that's another excellent question. The well, again, this story really is a partially a 2020 story. So this is kind of like what did you do on your summer vacation? Like, what did you do during your pandemic lockdown? I created a book club with this book, which is really a gift in the challenge, right? And I mean, one of the many. I'm sure we all have gifts from that tough time. But so you saw about how I connected with people. So the abbreviated version is that during that time, when everybody's had to stay home and everything, at the beginning was extra spooky, extra nerve-wracking for people. We didn't know what was going on. And I was looking online, and I saw on Facebook, when you usually look or whatever, which I don't do much anymore, but and everything you saw was negative, on social media, everything was negative. And I've been studying law of attraction, positive thinking for years, and I'm like, everything I'm looking at online is so negative. I've got to like help neutralize this a little bit, shift it a little bit to more positive, for other people to see some positive ideas out there, and also for me. So I started the Lovely Thoughts, Lovely Day Facebook group, which is changed the name now to Happy. Anyway, it was Lovely Thoughts, Lovely Day back then, because I feel like I want to provide some positive thoughts, alternative ways of looking at what's going on, because we're going to be spooked by the news every day. This was at the beginning, right? So anyway, because I had that book, that Facebook group, I was able to get a lot of followers from my regular page to join. That I specifically said for like positive thinking and law of attraction. So I wound up getting maybe in there about like 150, or like about 150 people or something, because I do have a lot of Facebook followers. But who knows who's in? I mean, nobody. It doesn't. It looks like I have a lot of Facebook followers, but how many interact? But I wound up getting about 100 people interested in that idea of this positive group during this time. And in there is where I made the announcement about, like, maybe a couple weeks after that, that if anybody's interested in a book group to keep us positive, we want to attract good things during this time. Instead of focusing on the negative, let's focus on the positive. And here's a book that's going to help us through this very negative time. And I have like two friends of mine. They're friends of mine on this path already. They just wanted in, And then a couple of people from the group reached out to me, and it pretty much went like that. Or say that I took a coaching class with somebody came from that, and it started
Mm.
from there.
Cool, cool.
Yeah,
What was the experience like as you're doing this? Because you're running the book club, but I
yeah,
imagine whether you're running it or whether you're just a member of it, I'm
yeah,
curious, what is your experience like, whether it's my book or anyone else's book, experiencing a book through, I guess I'm assuming conversation. I mean,
yeah.
were you picking points to highlight? Like, what was the approach that you took in really engaging with the book in this group setting?
Yes. Well, uh, what just sort of came naturally to me, or what my enthusiasm was around, was like, I like people to, if we're in a group, I like people to, if they can, like read a little paragraph, and maybe another person reads a little paragraph. Not that we're reading the whole time, but I feel like it keeps people engaged. If they, I said, Nelson, could you read this paragraph that's on page 118, whatever, and then sometimes people have ideas, what are your thoughts or insights on that? And or I will elaborate on what I know of the law of attraction that I feel is fitting with what your book is saying.
Hmm.
Your book also was different than the other, because we did do other books. Again, this this is the only one I saw your video, but people like, can I do anything else? And I like how you say, like, do what feels good to you and everything. But there's excellent exercises in here. I was
Thank you.
looking at it again today. I'm like, oh wow, oh yeah, oh. So I think I'm gonna have to do this again, actually, as
Nice.
another book group thing. But the thing that was different about this one is that what I did was, when we finished the book, I guess all along, sometimes we would do a little, have a little home play exercise, have them do something that you suggested, certain method or something for the week. And then we would talk the next week about anybody's wins, or what the results they got from it. But, and so we read this book. It took about, I don't know, we did over maybe 2 months, or we meet once a week, 2.5 months or something. But then we did a second round where we just reviewed some methods, and people were working on the methods more, and we were checking. So it was more of like an experiential experiment on your own, and let's discuss and review. That was the second round. That was like the manifesting workshop part of this, not workshop, but it's like, a little more interactive for a second round. So we
Cool,
reviewed it.
cool.
Yeah.
And just for clarity, I mean, I imagine these are Zoom meetings that you're having. So everyone's in their own
Yeah.
spot, everyone's meeting on Zoom, meaning this is an audio and visual experience in this book club, substituting for the fact that, again, people were in lockdown. And
Yeah.
also, I mean, people that were spread all over. It's not like you can count on them all being in the same place as you.
Right.
So
Right.
you use Zoom in this way.
Yes, and people are all over. And I mean, before this, before the lockdown and everything, I started playing with live events in Manhattan and everything. Not book club, but that wasn't a thought at the time. But well, another time I did a book club many years ago. But yeah, I wasn't going into Manhattan anymore to do anything live with people, so I did it by Zoom. And then you get people from all around all around the world. Right now we have somebody, I joke with her, Nia, her name is, she's in North Wales. When we're doing the book club, it's about bedtime for her, so I tell her we're reading her a bedtime story. She's the only one like, okay, it's 11 o'clock, good night.
Nice. Got it.
But that's what's great about Zoom. And especially like this, you could interact with people who are interested in this kind of content. And the way you wrote about this was so encouraging, and like it made it seem more doable. It was encouraging, like, don't beat yourself up, do what feels good. Yeah, a lot of people have this challenge about, like, let's get it to work better, and here's how you do it. And like, don't beat yourself up, do what feels right, but do a little bit each day. And
Yeah.
I really have, thanks to you, I really have been keeping up since I read this book. I mean, I have to say, like, when I think about it, even if I'm doing slight adjustments to things because I'm not that energized that morning or whatever.
That's awesome. So good to hear that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Um, Cool. Wow. So one thing just to reaffirm here, and again, just for clarity for people watching,
Yeah.
I'm really grateful that we're not having this conversation in 2020, and that we're having it in 2021.
Yes.
One, because I wanted to give you the space to do this. Again, I didn't I was happy to be supportive, but I did not want to be an interference in the process.
Thank
But
you.
also I wanted to reaffirm that when we're not in lockdown mode, that this
Yeah.
is something that can be doable and
Oh,
accessible to
definitely.
people. Because again, there's people out there right now, I think, watching that their friends don't understand them, their family doesn't understand them in the context of what this is doing, but it feels right to them. And I think
Right.
it's, again, an important reminder that people know that they can find people on Facebook or wherever just to engage in ideas. Again, my book, someone else's book, the law of attraction, some other topic.
Right.
And again, I'm really grateful for the example you've set and
Thank
basically
you.
leading the way so that people can be like, all right, cool, this is easily doable.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, it's interesting because I kind of forget that part, even though I hear about other people saying that, like, I felt crazy because I have nobody to talk to about this. And maybe it's because I have here, I live in Brooklyn, I have access to Manhattan. And, you know, there are lectures, there have been lectures and things or classes on, you know, law of attraction or whatever, or different speakers coming through. Um, and so I'm so used to signing up for conferences and things like that that I kind of know people from them, and then I become Facebook friends with them. But you do not need to have people yet. If you don't have any people, like-minded people to talk to about this stuff, check out, if follow Andrew's page, connect with those people, right? You know, get uh check out Facebook groups that are talking about this. You know, you really, the internet is very helpful. And any social media that you have, if people follow that, they'll get more connections even there, just seeing other people
Yeah.
commenting.
Yeah, it's like, YouTube isn't very conducive to that specifically, but I like
Yeah.
publishing a lot of content just because it's giving something to people there. And it's interesting because you brought up a really important point in the context of love attraction where you almost forget what it's like to not, to be dealing with that when you're not dealing with it anymore.
Right,
And I think
right.
that's an important thing because everyone in their own lives, they might be dealing with something where someone else might not be able to relate. But by that same token, there might be an aspect of their life that's going really well that they're not even thinking about or acknowledging because they're so focused on the other thing that they want to improve.
Right, what's
Maybe they want to
missing.
improve their money and they have not acknowledged the fact that they are in perfect health, or
Right.
they've got the love of their life but they're still trying to get that health thing. Like, what is it about your life that it's going so well that you can almost very easily take for granted just because it's not even popping in your mind as something that you need to improve or work on? I think you
Yes.
really spoke well to that because we all have that, we all go through it, which is a
Yeah.
great reminder. Like, listen, use that as a leveraging point for attracting more things that you want on the areas of your
Right.
life that you want to improve.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, what's working for you in other areas, and not coming from lack when you're, looking at what's still in the process of manifesting.
Yeah.
That's the trick. I mean, because it's a practice, right? And the doubts, the fears come in, frustrations, but it's like then you just keep getting yourself back. Did you talk about this in your book too, about on the beam or the plane? Did you mention that too? Or I'm not sure about a plane. This is an example I've heard in many places, but like when a plane is headed toward whatever the direction, whatever location they're flying to,
Hmm.
it spends a lot of the time like course correcting, like a
Yeah,
GPS.
yeah.
You
I
talked
I
about the
meant I think I
GPS.
remember I brought up a GPS. It wasn't like in the context of a plane, but more of a car.
Yes,
Um,
right.
but yeah, I mean you do bring up a good point there, and I'm almost like I'm stealing your thunder with the example.
No,
Planes
no, there's no
aren't.
thunder. That's it.
Yeah, it's like that was the whole thing.
And
It's like,
that's
no,
my,
planes don't like, okay, I'm going that way. Really,
yeah,
they mistake their way and correct their way
yeah.
to the
It's
course of what they
constant,
have to do.
right?
And there's no doubt that they're getting there, but it is a process. And I think, again, it's a wonderful reminder. Now, with that said, just curious for you, because again, you've kind of been into this now, and you've been doing this. And ideal, I mean, I don't know if ideally is the right word, but I mean, I know the channel is growing and I'm getting a lot of different subscribers. So I
Yeah.
know there's only a matter of time, if I've not hit there already, that there are people who have not read the book, but they're still finding the channel. So for those people that
Wow.
are unfamiliar, what in your opinion are some of like the one or two most important insights that you're taking into your life?
Um, okay, the first thing that comes to mind is the gratitude part. because you do discuss gratitude, the power of gratitude, getting that energy, excuse me, getting in that energy. And I also got that from one or two of your audios, your other packages that you have, your programs.
Mhm.
But gratitude, the importance of that, and I like how, like, you even offer a booster. You know, so like, say you do one project, one, what do you call it? One
Yeah, like one process.
procedure. Yeah, one process. And then you could add a little extra boost to it and say, like, you know, say you're doing scripting, and then you put also a little bit of what you're grateful for besides that, or you offer about, put a boost about, also write down the why, and that's a very powerful one too. So it's little tricks like that, and there's so many, and I saw so many additional wonderful processes you did in your videos on YouTube. I was I was binge watching you. I don't binge watch Netflix, so I was binge watching your channel because it's such great information. There's got to be something for everybody, because it's all different, great fun or pleasant ideas. But the other thing, what was I going to say about the the other thing was about, I think this is a big deal actually, and it kind of reminds me of why people get nervous about meditation. What I mentioned before, you present this material and suggesting how to practice raising your vibration to get the law of attraction to bring you what you want. You suggested, again, in a very hopeful and kind of custom way, like you know, it's very encouraging, very hopeful, and it feels more doable, because it doesn't come with the pressure that you would think, you know, really. That's why when I was reading this, I was like, yes, oh wow, oh good, I don't have to feel bad about that. Oh really, it could still work. Oh, I don't have to feel bad about that either, you know. That was a lot of it. There was something else I was going to tell you about that, but I can't. But that was the.
It might pop into your mind, and I appreciate the compliment.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, for me, part of the process, again, I was almost like, let me address all the stuff that I had to fight my way through.
Right.
So the goal was to not be rigid.
Right.
But, you know, so basically give every reader flexibility to play with it. But by that same token, for the people that don't enjoy flexibility, to give them enough specificity that they could follow something by the numbers.
Definitely.
Not needing to, but having an option for them. That was kind of like what I was going for.
Definitely.
So I appreciate the compliment.
Well, thank you for doing it that way, because that is really, to me, what made this book. So I'm thinking back to when I just started reading it there at that retreat place, or that hotel. When I was reading it, even in the room, I was like, wow, I wish someone would have said it like this sooner. You know. But that did get me to like you even talk about, at least do 5 minutes or something. And even though, you know, it ebbed and flowed, or, you know, my commitments with tuning myself in the morning, getting high vibe and everything, I have to say that since reading this book, I have pretty much continued with what I like to do, a little meditation every morning. That's just what I like to do, and a gratitude list, the way you mentioned. And then a lot of times I would put on, and I'm glad we had this interview set up, because watching your YouTube videos reminded me, it's like the work you do in the videos too, I really resonate with, and it helped uplift me since yesterday. Like, I haven't been able to wake up with a lot of energy a couple of weeks recently. Today I did. Nice. And half of it was while I was watching your videos last night, and that's what the book did to me too. Gives a lot of hope in practical, fun ways.
Nice. So, you know, kind of hijacking that and giving you know, guidance to other people, whether it's my book and my content or someone else's. If you find something that jazzes you up, lean into it, leverage it, use it to your advantage. And I love that you're doing that.
Thank you.
I'm curious, was there, and before we move on, just were there any methods in the book that really stuck out to you that you enjoy the most that you would recommend to people that might be on the fence about getting the book?
Well, one I know that I was a fan of, and I think pretty much everybody in the group, well, actually, two just come to mind. There were many, but that the book club were fans of. Um, the time lapse method, and the pennies from heaven. Is that what you called it? Pennies from heaven?
Pennies to millions. Gotcha.
Pennies to millions. They started calling it pennies from heaven. But
Hey, as long as the pennies and then the millions come, it's no big
yeah.
deal,
Well,
right?
wait, but the time lapse and the pennies to millions. Is that what you said? Pennies
Mhm.
to millions. But there were so many. I mean, like, again, I was looking at it again this morning, and I was like, I know there was the instant replay one. Was that the one where you picture something like also like 10 minutes past? Is that the one?
So the 10 minutes one,
That's something
do
else.
a quick breakdown for people. The instant replay is almost like doing a play on ESPN where you'll see sports highlights and you see them from different angles and different speeds.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's a fun way of trying the visualization for anyone that might be hesitant or apprehensive about visualizations, thinking they can't do them right. I'm like, you
Right,
know what, then don't do them right. Do them in a wacky way with a
right.
voiceover and different angles.
Yes,
And 10
yes.
minutes piece is also in recognition that a lot of people put in unnecessary pressure on themselves, and you'll probably remember this now that I'm saying it,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
they're like, oh, I have to visualize the exact moment and the exact emotion. I'm like, you know what, go 10 minutes into the future where you
Yeah.
could have any emotion and
I
you're no
love
longer
that.
stuck on it.
I mean, that's just that's such a unique way of approaching it. Because a lot of what we're always dealing with, it seems to me, is right. It's that mind chatter or those doubts or fears that come up with anything that we're doing.
Yeah.
Even if it's something exciting, you get nervous beforehand. Like I was telling you, even when I do these things, though, as much as I love to do them, it's like it's that other side of you that comes to distract you. Oh, what about this? What about that? And so if you're thinking 10 minutes past the goal, it's sort of like you're, that word, hijacking your mind past the chance it has to dispute the possibility of you getting that manifestation. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not even going to show you monkey mind. I'm not even going to show you what the manifestation is I'm going for. I'm going 10 minutes past it. Very good. I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
great.
Fun
Yeah,
stuff. And again, it's like it's all about, understanding the way we get in our own way
you're
and
right.
recognizing how powerful we are. And I
Yeah,
think that's another thing we often hear people say, like, you have no idea how powerful you are. And people, like, they hear it so much,
yeah,
it's like intellectually like, yeah, yeah, whatever.
right,
But it's like,
exactly.
no, you're powerful in the sense that, not only can you be your best friend, but if you're
Yeah,
not careful, you can be your worst enemy because no one
right,
can hold you back the way you can hold you back.
exactly.
So you got to make a choice to not let that come into play and really leverage your personal power for something better.
Yes, exactly. And I'm just coming to mind actually also is yeah, because this was like about a year and a half almost. Uh, I don't have it on the tip of my tongue, but I do remember a couple of things that happened with the group while we were reading this and doing the exercises. One of the ladies who was in the group, and she loved it, and they all loved this book. They really loved it. And they found it fun to, doable, the exercises, and they played with them. One of the ladies, we did some scripting too, which is great. I mean, I think that's great to do too. Write about your ideal, what you would like to see in your day, and achieving those goals. But one of the ladies did write something about, she wanted to manifest more money or a better job, something like that, and she wound up doing that during
Nice.
this time, so much so that she's like, guess what, and they're going to send me for free schooling, and it's going to be like an extra $10 an hour, and better, and I'm more interested in it. And yeah, and I can't come to the book club anymore.
I'm too busy winning to go to the book club. Sorry about that.
I was like, you know what? This is like, we're working toward people manifesting things. So if or you could catch a replay or something, but it
Nice.
works. Oh, and other people, when we do the pennies to millions, that was a fun thing too, because once people had that intention about finding abundance around them, attracting abundance, they started seeing change on the floor all over the place. Someone left change in the machine at the grocery store. So really, your
Awesome.
focus is very important. And a guidebook like this, let's face it, it's like a horse with I guess they put blinders on it, right? Because otherwise, like we're like that. We're like, what do they call it? The shiny nickel syndrome, whatever. A little extra focus and a guide to help you do that. That's when you start to see the things manifesting, not when your energy is really scattered all over the place.
Nice. And one thing you brought up here, and it's almost like you always want to be careful because you don't want anyone under pressure to report good news. But by the
Right.
same token, you also, when you're setting up a nurturing environment, it becomes reaffirming when other people in that environment are reporting good results with
Yes.
access to the same content and processes that you have. So I think it's pretty
Right.
cool that, in the book club, you've kind of had this arrangement where people could share the good news so that
Yes.
if you weren't like diving in that much, you're like, you know what, maybe today's the day to dive in a little bit more with this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, also with the good news, yeah. So then, Ashley, that's kind of where we started to incorporate discussing wins. I mean, this really was at the foundation of the book club. This, like, stirred these, inspired these ideas. So we would start with some, like a little bit of a breathing, calming down, centering at the beginning of the club, which you, at the meeting, which you had a couple of meditations in there, right? Well, one of them was
Mm.
with the ocean, everything. They loved that one, loved it. The ocean, what do you call that one again?
The ocean of abundance.
Ocean of abundance. They loved that. So that was another excellent exercise. But we would do a breathing thing to center everybody, and then discuss wins for anybody want to discuss them, and then start reading and discussing the book together. But also, I just want to say, so a manifestation could just be that they thought more positively about something, or something didn't bother them as much, or myself. It doesn't have to be a physical manifestation. And the last part about the manifestation, one of them was that, as one of the members said, look how, when we took photos and stuff, she's like, look how happy everybody looks in this photo of us together discussing this book. Look at the energy that we're creating together.
Love it.
So I love helping people to have positive experiences, right? And like an experience together, and that's what you can do with this book. On your own, you could, I mean, you get a lot out of it as well. We just happen to be,
Yeah, for sure.
in a group
So
setting.
if anyone's listening out there right now, they're watching this and they're kind of like, maybe they're like, hey, maybe there's time for me to find other friends and do something like this.
Yeah.
What kind of words of encouragement would you want to offer if they're still just, a little nervous or a little apprehensive? What would you say to them?
I would say just jump into read the book, jump into the book, start. If you start doing even those exercises, you're going to start raising your vibration, and you're going to get your own ideas of, you're going to get inspired ideas of maybe where else to meet other like-minded people, kindred spirits, right? When you raise your vibration, a very wise candy wrapper on a chocolate said, your vibe attracts your tribe. So if you read this and do it's really not about just reading. That's the whole point of this, right? That last book, the Law of Attraction book you'll ever need to read, it's applying it. So once you read it, but you work on the exercises, and you'll start raising your vibration anyway, which will start attracting ideas of, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll go find a Facebook group, just type in Law of Attraction. I mean, forget it. You'll find a whole bunch of them. I mean, you could follow what I do as, my group too, which is change the name. But also there's meetup.com. This is something that I have not fully followed through, but meetup.com, you could join a Law of Attraction group or create your own. You could create your own book club as a Facebook group, or on meetup.com. I would say Facebook groups, meetup.com. And really where I got all my connections was attending events that, say even you had a webinar or something and people are, and there's a Facebook group, you meet people within the events that you attend, and then you connect with them. And don't be afraid. This is my final suggestion with that. I mean, don't be afraid to reach out to the author and send them an email. Most people don't, a lot of people don't think, of doing that. Even my friend said, it was like, so where did you get the email? I was talking about somebody else. I was like, it's in the back of the book. Just, right? People don't even think of that. Why do people talk themselves out of something like that? Is it worthiness? Is it, I'm afraid, it's fear, and you don't have to do that, but do what feels comfortable for you right now and take inspired action.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate definitely, obviously, the kind words on the book. And I really appreciate, again, how you're leading by such a wonderful example and giving this guidance. If people wanted to connect with you or learn more about you, I mean, is there a good link, a group? Should they go to Whole Life Boogie? Like, what's the best way or ways for them to do so?
Thank you. That's, I mean, the easiest way, you could look up Whole Life Boogie on Facebook or Lynn Girardi. And then I do have the Facebook group called Happy Thoughts, Happy 2021. Happy Thoughts, Happy 2021. And that's where I do a lot more, because those people are more serious about the law of attraction in that group, or wholelifeboogie.com, but that's getting renovated.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but thank you so much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you in the past and now. And I'm so glad that it's, I tell you, meant to be, that you chose to do this around this time. And when I was watching your videos yesterday, like I said, I was getting like, oh yes, this helped me so much, I forgot. So really,
that's
seriously.
Awesome.
So thank you so much. Yes.
So before I let you go, parting words, any final advice or guidance, whether it's law of attraction related, gratitude related, or anything else? Any final parting words you want for the audience?
I really think that, maybe it goes without saying, or maybe it doesn't. It really is so important that you feel good. Feel good. And if you're going to do any exercises, choose the ones that make you feel good as well. It's like if you start out feeling good in your day, or doing exercises, law of attraction exercises that do not feel like a chore, and you have so many fun examples here in your on your YouTube channel. Once you make feeling good and being kind of playful about all this and letting go, then kind of like, just make it, like you say, also about the journey. Enjoy the journey, have fun, and that includes how you work with your law of attraction exercises. And then you'll feel better, you'll have better interactions with people, you'll start inviting in positive opportunities from nowhere. That's when the magic happens. Feel good first.
Awesome. Well, Lynn, thank you again so much for coming on, sharing your insight, being you. And everybody, when they follow their own inspired action, their own inspired ideas, good things happen. Like even me, writing this book, if I had not written the book, I would not have met a cool person like you. And
thank you. Same here. Thank you so much. I mean, it's really, and last night I was thinking, if people really consider, what were the gains over the last year and a half, I'm sure you'll find that there were a lot of gifts in that challenge. And look at the different people that you might have met, and you're definitely, at the top of the list. So thank you so much.